Day 22 of doing it scared. I had a lot of resistance this morning getting on here. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to hit record. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do any of this. I have been feeling really stressed out recently, and I was like, just today I just don't want to do this. Maybe I can just get on here for 3 seconds and say hi and leave. But I might need to save that for while I'm traveling, because I'm about to have some really long days coming up. And I thought about that, and then I was like, you know what? I got to do this. And that is, again, the point of this. I'm inspired by so many humans stepping out of their comfort zones, doing a courageous act. And I think I just want to spend some time talking about that maybe and see where it goes. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't give ourselves enough credit for our capabilities. I love how in the Navy SEALs, and I don't know how accurate this is or how true it is, but I've at least heard this before, and it's when you think you have given your all, you've only given 60%. You have 40% left to give. Think about that. When you think you've given it your all, you have 40% left to give. And that is they're talking about going through the most grueling training that I think we know, at least, in the US, like the most grueling training that you could ever go through, going through the Navy SEALs. And what they're saying is, like, when you've pushed your body to the breaking point, you still have more in the tank. And that applies to like every area of life. And what's great about it is, like, you can use that anywhere. You can use that in relationships. You can use that to get the courage to go up to a stranger. Everything in you might be like, oh no, I can't talk to this person. I don't know what to say, blah, 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 all the thoughts, right? But you're there. You can do it. And oftentimes we're really good at talking ourselves out of doing the thing we know we want to do. And that's why it's so important to kind of get in the reps, right? There's so many amazing people out there that have put practices together talking about what you can do to get more courage. But it's just it's exposure therapy. It's just getting yourself exposed just a little bit to that thing that you're scared of. Something that I've been really scared of my whole life, and this is just an example. There's a lot of things, and there's some that are like phobias, or there are some that are bigger, like speaking on a stage, and there's things like getting on a video. Those things are scary for me. But just as an example, to keep it simple, I'm scared of spiders. And to the point of, like, when I look at a picture of a spider, I still shake and freak out. So what I've been doing over the last year is I've been slowly exposing myself to spiders. I don't have it right now, but for a while there on the background of my phone, I put a spider on the background of my phone. That way, every time I open my phone, I would get used to it, right? I'd get used to this fear of this thing. And over time, it's gotten less. I took it off because the fear has gotten less and less. Like, it started to not bother me. And now any opportunity I get to examine a spider, whether it's outside on a spider web, or anywhere I can see a spider, I sit there and I just sit with it and I examine it. And I say to myself, wow, I'm safe. I'm okay. This thing isn't hurting me. It's creepy looking, sure, and I still have like the tense up and all this stuff, but it's not as bad. And slowly over time, it's gotten easier to deal with spiders. Now, I used to be so bad that I couldn't be the one, if there was a spider in our house and we had to kill it, like, I couldn't be the one that would kill it. That's how scared of spiders I was. And now it's not even, I don't even think about it. It's just a no-brainer. Just go over, pick the spider up, and move on with my life. Don't even think about it. Occasionally I'll get a little scared still, but it's not nearly as bad. And I think that's what's so powerful about that, is that tool of the slow exposure can work on any area in your life. And that's why it's really important for me getting on camera, because I believe I'm here to do bigger things. And part of that is going to be speaking on stages, and part of that is going to be speaking to a camera, and part of that is going to be doing this thing. So it's like, wow, well, how can I show up just a little bit and do the thing that I'm a little bit scared to do, and start exposing myself to it slowly? I don't love the sound of my voice. I don't love the look of my face. I don't love this. I don't love that. Blah, blah, blah. All the stuff, right? All the thoughts. And that's why I decided, I was like, well, what if I just did this thing? Just to test it out. See what happens. And really commit to not doing it perfect. Because often what happens is the perfection of it or the perfection of the thought in our head, it gets in the way of doing the thing. See, I have the skills to actually make this a production and do the lighting and cameras and all the stuff, but even that, it was such a big barrier for me because I had set up the amount of times I set up a camera, looked at it, stared at it, tried to say something, and nothing came to my mind. It's unbelievable. Maybe hundreds of times. I've done it so many times. And I sat there and then maybe I got a video that was okay, that was decent. I scripted it and it was decent and put it together and I was like, I don't like it. So what's the antidote to that? Well, the antidote is doing the thing. So I decided I'm going to do this scary thing for me, which is showing up on a camera and talking, unscripted, unprepared, and just go and see what happens. And then I'm so grateful because I had people in my life that decided to challenge me and said, hey, you did this once, because I didn't really have a timeline at first. Why don't you do it for 100 days straight and see what happens? And that thought really scared me. I was like, 100 days of showing up and talking about something. I mean, am I going to have 100 days worth of stuff to talk about? And I don't know if I am, but so far, 22 days in, I've found things to talk about. So it's so important as a human being to do the thing you're scared to do, to get a little bit of courage. If that's talking to somebody, if it's talking to a person that you want to talk to, but you're nervous to talk to them, you start with a hi and a smile. And it can be awkward. Who cares? It can be so awkward. Hi, and mess it up. Who cares? And if there's a person that you really want to talk to, but the stakes feel too high, then find somebody else. Find a stranger up on the street. I love doing this. You go up to a stranger, and it's scary for me, but I love doing it. You go up to a stranger, you say, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Usually they say, oh yeah, fine, thank you. And that's it. And then you move on. But the more you expose yourself to that, the easier it gets to have a conversation with somebody. So it goes from how are you doing? Hi, how are you doing? To, wow, I really like those shoes you're wearing. What prompted you to get those? Or, wow, that hoodie that you're wearing looks really nice. Is it comfortable? And then you start just like slowly getting better at it. And eventually it becomes second nature. It becomes easier. And doesn't mean that you still don't have the little nervousness in you when you go up to them, but it certainly gets easier. So my challenge for you today is to do the thing scared. To get the courage, and I know that you have it in you. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in others. Stepping out of their comfort zone. Stepping out of the thing that they're like, I'm just scared to do this. I'm scared to do this. Do it. Because on the other side of doing that thing, that's where true growth is. We talk about growth. We talk about getting better. We talk about all these things. The real growth is just outside of that comfort, right? That just outside of it. It's just outside. It doesn't, you have to step far outside of it. I've learned this technique from a friend of mine, Kristen Butler. She wrote this book called The Comfort Zone, and she believes, and rightfully so, that you can do a lot of things from the comfort zone. So in other words, it's like me with the spider. Do the thing that is still comfortable, you're still safe, so put a picture on your phone, you're still safe, the stakes are low, and you can still do the thing, but you can expose yourself to it slowly over time. So when you want to do something big, you start with something small, and that's it. And we overcomplicate it because I know in a lot of ways, I think I'm a perfectionist. I don't know exactly what that is because I look at my stuff and I'm not a perfectionist. But my wife is always telling me that I'm a perfectionist, so I tend to, agree with her analysis of that, and other people have told me that. But it's like, don't worry about it being perfect. Really don't. Don't worry about the right words. Don't worry about the right approach. Don't worry about it. Like, don't go for the, pick up a spider right away and hold it on your hand. Like, don't go for that first, but just go for what's the smallest thing that you can do? What's the smallest thing you can do today to work towards the thing that you're scared to do? If you show up for yourself in those small ways on a daily basis, you start to show yourself how important you are and how much you matter. And then by doing that, the rest of the world starts to agree. The universe starts to agree that you matter because it agreed all along. It's just you didn't fully agree with that. You didn't fully agree with You didn't fully agree with the fact that you matter and that you're enough as you are. You didn't fully agree with it. So instead of trying to fully agree with it, just start small, and eventually you'll catch up. You'll get there. You'll awaken. You'll be like, whoa, I was enough the whole time. Because day 1 me versus day 22 me is still me. This was still in me the whole time. This was in me the whole time. And really, this started years and years and years ago of me wanting to do this, wanting to show up on camera. And I'm sure that you have something too that showed up a long time ago that you wanted to do, and you just haven't because you don't feel like you're enough or good enough or like you have the right thing to say or whatever it is. Or maybe you have a really high view of yourself too. Maybe you have a really high view of yourself and you're so scared of others all of a sudden perceiving you in a lower way if you don't show up perfectly. So I just want to challenge you to do the thing, right? This whole video series is just about that. And if this comes across your feed, I believe that you're in a place to hear this message, that you're in a place to get to the next level, that you're in a place to do the thing scared. There's a great story of, and I'm going to butcher it to no end, but that I love and has inspired me a lot of times. And basically it goes like this, and then I'll wrap up with this. There's a burning building, right? A building is coming down, it's collapsing. The firemen, firewomen, they all come and they're getting people out, and this fireman goes up to the third level, and on the third level is this woman, and she's crouched under a desk. Flames are all around it. The building is starting to come down. And he goes to her. He's like, you need to come to me. You need to come with me. You need to come with me. And she keeps saying, I can't. He's like, you got to. If you don't, you will die. Give me goosebumps. If you don't, you will die. And she's like, I'm sorry. There's no way. I'm too scared. I can't do it. I'm too scared. And then he turns to her and he says, you're going to have to do it scared. It's amazing that it's taken me this long to do this thing scared. But I have done a lot of things in my life scared. Starting businesses, getting married, having kids. I've done a lot of things in my life scared. You're not always going to be like, that's what courage is. It's doing it in the face of scared. That's what bravery is. It's doing it even when you're scared. And that doesn't just have to be the big things. It can be the small things. It can be the apology to someone, right? It can be like saying, I'm sorry. It can be the gratitude for somebody. It can be say, thank you for doing that for me. There are so many things that we stop ourselves from doing because we're scared. We're scared of a reaction. We're scared of how we're going to be perceived. We're scared of not being enough. We're scared of not being loved. We're scared of being ostracized from our community. We're scared of losing our family. We're scared of there's just so many things. The list goes on and on, right? So I just want to encourage you. And I want to say that I know 100%, even though you might not believe, if you're watching this, you might not believe it. You have the capability, you have the power to do the thing. You do, 100%. You might not show up exactly how you want to. It might not look exactly how you think it's going to look, but you are capable of doing it. And if you wanted to eventually get to the place where it looks like you want it to look, you have to start somewhere. So, start today. There's no time like the present. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Right now, this present moment. Do the thing. You are loved and you are enough. Even if you decide not to do the thing today, you are loved and you are enough just as you are. And the more you realize that, eventually, if you realize that, you're going to start doing the things scared because you're going to realize that it is true. I love you. Thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, I'm so grateful.